Yeah, the friend that I was telling you about, the one that we don't really collaborate as much together. He's so literal. Like, he's a good learner. Like, he's a great student, but he's a snapshot type of learner. Like, he learns verbatim. So there's an accuracy in that, but then there's a lack of depth with that. So he's on Instagram and social media learning how to be an entrepreneur. He wasn't an entrepreneur before social media. So what is that doing? It's teaching you how to be a social media entrepreneur. That's not necessarily the entrepreneur you think you are. It's two different things happening. And that's almost like, am I a content developer or am I a product distributor?
I think a lot of times you talk about it, you're like, you always talk about these things that you want to do or like, but at the end of the day, it comes from the core of being an artist in your own sense. And then you're like, it's like something comes across and you're like, I'm scared to take out like the integrity of what you do. You're like, man, like I don't want to do that because what if I become these people who are like that or something? But like, you gotta have some integrity and do it for yourself.
You gotta do it for yourself.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's
but you're like a creative person like that. Like,
doing it for yourself is the essence.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have to be satisfied with the finished product.
Yeah.
It's a capitalist who's not satisfied with the finished product if the product doesn't perform a certain way financially. But back to that statement that most people go down the creative path that most uncreatives go down. Number one, creativity is organic. There's no real how to be creative.
It's a men's magazine, or oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. He's like a modern photographer.
Right.
I have a painting from him.
Really?
Yeah. He's contemporary. Like, he's not. He's alive. I think he's alive. But he think I didn't want the book because it was messed up. It's not for resale. It's like,
that's right.
Kind of. I really want this table though, man.
This white one?
I wish it was something. Come on, man. Come on.
Let me think about it.
Mull it over while I look around some more, man. Come on. Creative. Entrepreneurship is a creative sport. It's not a finance sport as much as people think it is. And even finance is a creative sport. But the idea of organic, creative, unpredictable, uncontrived, that's what we want out of our art and our finished product. That's the story we wanted to tell. So if you go down a track, if you follow the how-to, if somebody teaches you how to Dougie, is that really fresh? Of course not. So that's what I got from that, and it was profound to me. Like it spoke volume to me.
Yeah.
All right. So you sure you're not gonna sell me the tape?
What's that?
You sure you're not gonna sell me the tape?
I don't think so right now.
So me and this guy kind of went our separate ways because I'm telling him, no, you're a living how-to. Culture, not a specimen. You're a culture. You're a how-to culture. But now you're going to suppress that culture to now fall in line behind a how-to video that was somebody else's track that probably hasn't even evolved to where your potential is right now. But how would you know that if you keep going down the same track uncreative people go down? You keep looking at the dance videos to learn how to dance. No, this has to be something, there has to be something internal. Something has to come from inside.
I'd say it comes from God every time. I don't think it ever
everything comes from God. And I think that's the part we have to release and let happen. We don't have any control over the cool. And that's what I hate about the idea of a gatekeeper. The gatekeeper of cool. The gatekeeper. Like, there's no gatekeepers. And to try to be a gatekeeper, to see yourself as a gatekeeper, to get out there and start gatekeeping, you see that's where the helium balloon starts to get smashed and squeezed, and you see little pockets of air instead of this big balloon, this big morph.
That's why you gotta keep at it though, like internally, because if not, then you're gonna end up with that somehow. Whether it's fear of becoming this because you see someone like that, or just inner composure to even walk across the path. Like, it's gonna happen unless you continue checking yourself internally through it.
Checks and balances.
Yeah.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
I've been going through that, trying to like create without it being like this pressurous situation of like, oh, like these 6 months, rely on it or this or that. Like, I'm trying my best. And yeah, I forget what. Yeah, that thing about like the creative paths people go down. I've been like checking myself every time, like, bro, like which one of these things like have I seen done already that like I'm like, like if I just made music like this or like I know I can do it, and then I gotta check myself like, don't, because like you're just like following this path that's not even internal to you. So even if you do it, you ain't gonna be happy.
Just enjoy it. It's okay to enjoy something without mimicking it.
Yeah.
You can be inspired without mimicking.
Yeah.
And you can mimic to get inspired. There's no right or wrong here, but you're
following
right.
it so far, right? So like for you, right? You're like talking about podcasts, and that's what he was talking about when he said it. He like podcast is like a thing that has been around for like enough that every dude makes it, right? And as a creative like yourself, and you can make a podcast and I'm gonna support it forever. But like so genuine are those like what do you call them? The segments.
The sessions.
The sessions, right? They're so genuine and so
little mini installations.
And so you, right?
Yeah.
And like I look at moments like that and I'm like, damn. And he talks about podcasting, which is probably like dudes who don't have like your creativity, probably like, yeah, I'm gonna make a podcast with my boy. Ain't got nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
They just spewing the same old thing.
Yeah.
Women is for men's. You know, like you ever this is meme, and it's like a dude being like, why I gotta pay for a date when she mine? Women's supposed to be for men. They're like, you ever had a girlfriend? He's like, nah, but that's beside the point.
Yo, he said, you ever had a girlfriend? Nah, but I'm just living in this my truth. It's like, how you living in your truth?
Like, they just went down that path because they're like, what is the easiest thing that's working for everybody? You know what I mean? Like they're new to like the podcast, and then like someone like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you did a podcast, you know where I'm at.
Thanks, man.
Genuinely.
Thanks, man.
But you have such like a gift to be like sessions by Coach, and they're fire, and like sure maybe it's not crafted perfectly to like what you think, but like if you just checked and balanced yourself to be like, if I continue at this and continue being myself through it, and you know have moments where you talk to your son and be like, nah, don't even do the music, and figure those things out, that's gonna be its own success. Like that's like the creative people have the gift to create something like that. Okay. And sure, like people might do stuff like that.
Right.
But like I'm gonna make music and people are gonna do the same chords as me. But at least I'm not trying to make the same old trap song or something, or whatever trend is in, me being like, I'm gonna just get in line with everybody else and hope that I hit.
If you do what somebody else is doing.
I'm creative enough to do what I do.
Yeah.
And sure, it might feel like things, but it's inspiration, not imitation.
Right.
You know?
Right. Ooh, inspiration, not imitation.
For you, bro, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Like you.
I feel what you're saying in my soul right now. Like I really do.
Bro, you're one of those people. Like.
I hope so, man.
Hope so. You prove it every time.
But no, that was good stuff, man. That was my intention though. I wanted sessions to be unbounded. I didn't want to be inside the box, the template of the wires and the setting up a frame and the same set. Like I wanted to be like on the spot, on location, like a conversation.
When we're here, like you see yourself like I'll say something for like my lowly perspective of like owning what you want to own, and like you're so like you got so much integrity that you're like, nah, that's not what I want to do. Like, and it's like, I admire that because you'll be like I'll be like, yeah, that lamp, if, like, or this, or you don't talk to people, and you're like, that's not what I want it to be. You know what I mean? And not in defiance to me, but like, you have so much integrity in your own creative process and what you're building that it's like, bro, for stuff like the internet and stuff, that same approach is everything. It's the same approach.
Yeah.
It's just because it's a foreign land to you. This is not foreign to you,
This
so you
is
feel
not
comfortable
foreign.
to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want it right there. I want the bikes looking like that.
100%.
But since it's foreign, because you didn't grow up on the internet, you're like, and also how many people are on the internet that you're like, I don't fit in. They're like self-doubt and like, like I should do a podcast because that's what everybody else is doing. When you already have like
the whole thing, like,
bro, what's one of the things that's like most important on the internet is retention, right?
Yes.
Trying to keep people in.
Keep it in. Yeah.
You have a small, compact, nice thing there,
Yeah.
and then you're like, let me take out this purity of like what this is, not believe in it because I don't believe in myself or whatever the case is, right? And then go to a podcast which is like an hour long that my friends probably ain't gonna have the time to listen to.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna have to train myself to be that way because podcasts are in a format.
Yeah.
And people who, and even if I start doing something different in my podcast, now people gotta attune themselves because podcasts have been a thing for so long that they're like, this is different. I don't know. The same way people don't want to listen to new good hip hop because they're so used to pop.
100%.
And then they're like, that's too much work to understand that. When you already got a nice retention thing, maybe like 5-minute thing, whatever.
Yeah, the 5 minutes was genius for
Bro,
me because
it's
it was
good.
like that's how long song. Look how long a song is. You can listen to a song for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and you're that invested.
Yeah.
So you can't expect to talk all day. You know.
Yeah. And even then, like sometimes, like it just takes you catching them like a book. You know what I mean? Like catching them enough for them to. I remember watching the Andrew Schultz comedy special, or like things on Instagram, and what he started doing was like in the beginning catching people and be like, "Come here, press on the screen, move it sideways," and then he just caught people. You know what I mean? And now he's shooting off and keeping people in because he chose a creative thing.
He was
on
creative
Instagram
with the user engagement. Like,
yeah, he was thinking about that. And for you, like, yo, this comes so naturally, and then you're like, I'm thinking about the podcast, and every time I hear it, that's why I showed you that, because I'm like, bro, like, that's what everyone who doesn't have the gift of you be saying. Like, there's people who don't. Like, let's be honest, and it's, like, they probably have the potential to be that because we're all God's children and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, some people don't have it, bro. Some people might have the work ethic to be the how-tos. They might be able to execute, but they don't have the ability to be like, I'm going to do this, you know? And that shit's mostly what actually pushes us into a success that's so deeply meant for us. At least I think so.
I like that. It's a success that was deeply meant for us.
It's in you. You feel it. If not, you wouldn't have gotten this far. You wouldn't have gotten this far if you didn't feel that.
That was spiritual right there.
There's God. Every time you follow, and then you're like, oh, God, like, I can't believe it. But it's deeply inside of you. It's our self-doubt, people's voices, the reality of the world that we look at and got to mirror ourselves upon, being like, damn, I'm the 1% that's trying. Maybe I should just fit in. Bro, if you were that person, this whole shop would be not what it is.
He said, "If I made the same moves y'all made, we will all lose." That was good. I appreciate that. That was good. That was good. That was inspirational, man. I needed to hear that. Today was a day of reclaiming self. You know.
Nice.
I think today was a reclaim of self.
Nice.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've been listening to Pressure by